Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Robert Furnett, and in this video, we're going to be talking about electric vehicle charging. So the first thing that we want to take a look at is high-speed DC fast charging, which is not very available in West Virginia, but is getting there. But we'll go take a look at one of those locally just to see how fast we can charge. But the first thing you'll need to know about batteries and electric vehicles is that when they are cold, they don't charge quite as fast, and therefore, we want to make sure that the battery is ready for fast charging. And what I'm going to do is give you a little quick show of what you would do in a Tesla to make that happen. So on the screen, we've got the charging locations that are nearby. I'm going to set the Martinsburg Supercharger as my destination. And once you've set that destination, it will tell you there that it's preconditioning the battery for fast charging, so that it'll be ready when I get there. So that's the first step. Make sure the battery's ready for fast charging. When you're on a long trip, you really don't have to worry about that because the battery's already warm from driving. But in this case, since the temperatures were cold last night, the battery will need to be warmed up before I go to this close by supercharger. So see you in a minute. Well, here we are, guys. We're at a Tesla Supercharger in Martinsburg. I want to show you the screen before we get started. All right, so you see on the screen, we've got about 109 miles of range left. So the battery will not charge quite as fast as it would if the battery were empty. That's just another fact about batteries. They charge at different rates depending on how full they are. So the lower they are, the faster they charge. So we're about a little over 30% full, maybe 35% right now. So it'll charge a little bit slower than maximum, but we'll still have a pretty fast charge rate. So let's take a look and see what it looks like. It's a bit windy outside, so I'm not going to do a lot of talking, but I'll show you what the process looks like. Video this. Okay, you can see that the charge rate is ramping up, and this charger can deliver a maximum of 150 kilowatts. Looks like we're going to top out right at the moment about 116 or so. Yeah. So the car can charge at 250 kilowatts maximum if you're at a charger that supports that. The superchargers in West Virginia are a little bit older, so they only go to 150, which is still quite fast compared to competitive solutions. You can see the time remaining is about 20 minutes for supercharging to 80%, which is what I've got it set to. Generally, you only charge to about 80% because that's the fastest. If you need more range, of course, you can charge to 90 or 100%, but that will just take longer. You can see the amount of the billing for the current session down there in the lower right. It says 64 cents. So you can see that's what they're charging. You may have noticed I use no credit card or other payment method. You just plug in the car, it knows who you are and how to bill you. So it's all handled behind the scenes. There is no payment at the actual stall. All right, well, we've seen a Tesla Supercharger, so let's see what something in your home would probably look like. So we're going to be looking at a level 2 AC charger for your home. So this unit is a juice box, 40 amp, level 2 electric vehicle charger. I've been using it for about 3 years. It pulls 240 volts at 40 amps. So it generates about 10 kilowatts of power. So let's see what that looks like plugging up to the car. All right. So we've got our screen there showing us how fast we're charging. It's I've got it, actually it's a 40 amp charger, but I've got it set at about 20 amps. Because it charges overnight, you don't need it to be charging quite as fast. So that's what it's charging at. You can see how long it would take to charge, 4 hours, 45 minutes. Here's what it looks like real time in my home. My solar system is producing about 6,800 watts, and the home is using about 5,300, and I'm pushing 1,400 out to the grid. So right now the solar system is producing more energy than the car can use, and the house is using, so we're pushing all the excess to the grid. All right, so we've seen a supercharger, DC fast charging in action. We've seen a level 2 AC charger. But what if you were out somewhere and you were visiting a friend, or you were at a location that did not have a level 2 charger, a 240 volt connection? What if you were only had access to a regular 120 volt household outlet that you plug anything into? Could you plug your electric car up to that, and how fast would it charge? Well, yes, you can. So let's see what it would do. All right, so here's the kit that comes with a Tesla. All electric vehicles have something similar. And we're just going to pull the charger out. This charger can actually run at 240 volts or 120 volts. So you've got the 240 volt style connection here, but we won't be using it for this example. But if you were somewhere like a campground or someone's house who had a dryer outlet in their garage, you could use this connection. Okay, we can see we've got the standard level 1 charger. We'll go ahead and plug it into just a regular household outlet. There we go. Let's take our plug. And we've got green, so we're charging. Okay, let's see what we're doing in the car. Well, you can see at 120 volts and 12 amps, it's going to take a much longer time to charge the car, about 16 hours, 35 minutes to 80%. So that's an example of what it would take. But if you were charging overnight, or for a longer period of time, it may be fine. A lot of folks live on level 1 120 volt charging. If you've got a car that you don't drive a whole very many miles a day, that can be fine. Here's what it looks like in the house. So the solar system is producing 7,100 watts. We're consuming about 5,100 of that, pushing almost 2,000 out to the grid now. So there's probably other things going on in the house. Yeah, so the HVAC system is running and the fridge is running. So you can see that's consuming some of the power that I'm using. Another aspect of electric vehicle charging that a lot of folks may not think about is regenerative braking, which not only saves your brakes and extends the life of the brakes for much longer than a regular vehicle, but also allows the battery to be recharged every time you come to, well, not fully recharged, but allows the battery to receive energy from slowing down, braking, going down a large hill. Anytime you're not on the accelerator, the car is putting energy back into the battery. I'll see if I can show you this real quick on the screen. Up at the top there is a line right above the speed, and if I'm going faster, you see the black line increase. That's me using energy. But if I let off the accelerator, you can see the green line extend, and that is energy going back into the battery. So with an electric vehicle, as you're driving, you're always using some energy and then putting energy back into the battery. So it works really great in city style driving because every stop allows you to create energy. Unlike a gas powered vehicle, which only uses energy, it never can create more gas. An electric vehicle can do that, and it increases its efficiency. All right, so where does all this power come from? In my case, you saw that some of my power comes from solar panels when I'm charging. I do produce more energy for the home and the car than I use in a year. So a lot of my usage is from solar. Where else does power come from in our state? Well, it could come from wind energy. We do have several wind turbines in the eastern, over in the eastern part of the state. So here's a quick shot I made when I was over in that area. When I charged in that area, I was getting electricity generated by wind turbines. You can see from this image from the Energy Information Administration in the United States that at least in 2018, West Virginia's electric power sector consumption by source, that bottom set of images, that coal was overwhelmingly the largest source, and renewables come in at about 4%. So that was in 2018. So you can tell where most of our the fuel for our power comes from is coal-based, and there's also obviously some natural gas and petroleum in there as well. Well, I hope you found that interesting to see how electric vehicles charge and where they get their power from, which can vary greatly depending on whether you have something like solar installed and where you live in the state or which state you live in. For example, in the Pacific Northwest, a lot of power would come from hydroelectric sources. So depending on where you live, the source of your energy can be very different. But regardless of where it comes from or how it's produced, we're always wanting to make it cleaner. Electric vehicles, especially, as the energy mix that they're powered by gets cleaner, less carbon emissions, less pollution, then those vehicles get cleaner every day. Every time an old power plant is decommissioned and a new cleaner power plant comes online, or renewables come online, wind turbines, solars. When those things come online, electric vehicles get cleaner every time that happens. So that's what we're shooting for. I hope you found this interesting, and hope to see you on the panel discussion later.